Hello captains, this is Kent again, and welcome to the flight show. So, I have just recently upgraded my CPU to a i7-8700K, and I wanted to kind of put the computer through its paces to see how it handles the graphics. So I thought I would give a tour and take you with me on this little benchmark test. Now, I'm not running frames per second, because for a reason. Sometimes we find ourselves chasing frames per second, and I think that kind of takes away from your enjoyment. At the end of the day, what you want to know is, does the simulation look good, and does it run smoothly? And so what we're going to do is take a little bit of a tour of one of the most graphically intensive locations I know, which is DRZEWIECKI Designs New York City scenery, payware scenery. And so we're gonna just fly around and just take a look at how well this is. So I'm gonna fly here in a Bell helicopter, one of my favorite helicopters. It's a simple fly. It's not necessarily study level or anything like that. But I think a helicopter flying through will give us an opportunity to look around the city and check out the graphics and just see how smooth this is. So right now we're in Manhattan, and we're gonna fly through the city and see what there is to see. So right off my observations are that the frame rate is really smooth. There's an aircraft carrier. I do not know which aircraft carrier that is in New York, but let's get a look here and fly over the city. As I understand, they modeled almost every building in the downtown area of Manhattan. So this should be a real challenge for any CPU and accelerator card. But as it turns out, it seems to be running beautifully. This is Prepar3D V4.2. Is that what, the Staples Center where the New York Knicks play? I don't know what the official name of it is, but I think that's what that is down there. And over there is New Jersey, and now we're going to fly down to the World Trade Center area and check out what there is to see. Now, as you can see, this is an incredibly detailed city. I forget the statistics on everything that's being modeled, but as you can see, this CPU seems to be handling this very well. Now, something that's seldomly talked about, when I normally fly my flight simulator, I fly it using 3 monitors. So I spread out my cockpit in those 3 monitors for, immersion and a full panoramic view. Well, of course, that brings down your frame rates. But when you're filming or doing a screen capture, you're only doing a screen capture on 1 monitor. So when you look at people and they're doing you're looking at their frame rates on the screen when they're posting flight videos, you have to bear in mind that this is from the perspective if you're a person who's only flying with 1 monitor. If you're flying with 3 monitors, it's always going to be slower because the computer has to render more in a given frame. But for posting videos, that's fine because you only need 1 monitor. But if you're gonna run it on 3, you have to realize that the performance is never going to be what you see on the computer screen, because those videos are always looking at it from 1 monitor's perspective, unless they're not screen capturing but they're videoing from another camera and you're looking at the screen. And then there are ways to boost frame rates, like if you're really good, you can network multiple computers, and you could let one computer handle all of your instruments while another computer handles what's going on outside your cockpit. But I've never learned how to do that. But I mean, it's doable. If it's in a book, you can learn it. So maybe that's something for the future. But right now, I really don't want to go through all that. I just want to have a CPU that can really kick butt. And this seems to be doing so. Even when I'm running 3 monitors, it's not as fast as when you're running 1, but it's up there. It's as long as you're above 20 frames per second, it's going to look pretty decent. If you can get up to 25, 30, you're golden. And I'm still, having to see what it is I'm able to pull off. Like, I literally just got this working this morning. So I thought I would just take you on this journey with me as we tour Manhattan and flying around. Let me maybe not get too close to that building. But as you can see, this is a very densely populated area in terms of the buildings and the detail and the rendering. Over way off in the distance, you can't see it from here, but DRZEWIECKI's New York airports, I also have that. But I thought running through the city would be really a much better example of showing off what this CPU has the ability to do. Now, as you know, my show is primarily geared for the new person to Flight Simulator. So if you're just kind of getting into Flight Simulator and you're thinking, well, I can't, I get choppy screens or low frame rates and I may want to upgrade. Well, here you are seeing, if you can pull it off, the i7-8700K is definitely where you want to go. Now, I don't think that it's, in terms of CPU upgrades over the years, this is not that expensive. The CPU itself is like $363, which is great for back in the day to get the higher end CPUs that could run Flight Simulator. Those things were like $900 to $1,000. So just in terms of affordability compared to what it used to be, this is so much more affordable. So the question then becomes, well, if you get this and you're moving up from the i7, say 4900, because if you were going to go from the 49, not the 49, I think it was the 4970, because that's what I was running before. If you went up to a 77K, don't know if you're going to get as much bang for your buck. But when I started doing the research on the 8700K, I felt that the performance boost would justify spending that money. So if you're running it and you're just got into Flight Simulator, it's like, well, I would enjoy this, but the graphics just give me low frames and I might want to upgrade my computer so I can get into this. I would highly recommend, based on my initial experience, I'm going to say I would highly recommend upgrading to an 8700. Now, what makes it expensive? It's the CPU, the motherboard, and the memory. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to get a super gaming motherboard, you're going to be looking to spend somewhere around $250 to, depending on what it is, about $300. But do you need that? No, you don't. You need it when you want to do some serious overclocking, but right now, I don't have this thing overclocked at the moment. I've been trying to, well, let's say I don't think it's overclocked. I was trying to overclock it, but this is new to me. And so I thought I was overclocking it, but when I look at the clock speed using Cupid and looking at it when it says in actual Windows, it's not overclocked. So let's just assume that this is not overclocked right now. Well, if this is not overclocked, this is running beautifully for a non-overclocked system. So what that means to say is you don't necessarily have to get the hottest of the hot motherboards, because those motherboards are for overclocking, SLI, 3 video cards. I'm running 1 video card. I have 2 video cards, but 1 accelerator card, basically using Nvidia Surround to get multiple monitors. And then I have a small little, not do much video card, and that's for other monitors, like where I'm going to have PFPX or electronic flight bag running, or I put my instruments on a monitor that's right below the screen. So at the end of the day, the Flight Simulator is running off of the Nvidia using Surround. And so that being said, I'm not using SLI, and if this is running without being overclocked, you don't necessarily need a super gaming motherboard for that either. This is an H370 3 wireless motherboard running the 8700K, and it is doing its thing. So if you're thinking about the upgrade and you're saying, well, what's going to give me good frames per second, this is worth the investment. And if you have a current system and all you need to do is switch out your motherboard and your memory, because this is going to use DDR4 as opposed to DDR3, you can get some good Corsair memory for $100. So at the end of the day, after tax, you're spending about, $700, which is still $300 cheaper than if you bought an entire system from Best Buy. And maybe that's where you want to go, but I'm simply saying if you're going to upgrade and you can keep your same case, hard drive, Windows activation and that whole nine, then this might be the way to go. And this CPU it's incredible. I mean, as far as running all the graphics in Flight Simulator, you can already look and see the smoothness. Had to load the textures there, but you can see the smoothness. You can see that this is a highly detailed scenery. The frames per second are wonderful. It's smooth. It's fluid. I can fly around this, scenery all day just to see what I can find. What would be interesting is if you did this, play a little game with yourself, get a digital look, have Google open on one of your other screens, and try to, zoom in on the Google Maps, zoom in on a certain thing and see if you can find it in this city. That would be a really good exercise in just seeing how many buildings were really detailed and modeled. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is bring this thing in for a landing. But again, I just wanted to share my little test run with you, because this is, I hate spending a lot of money. I tend to be a little frugal in actual practice, which is a really polite way of saying cheap. But I will say that no regrets. This was definitely worth the upgrade. The performance with Flight Simulator, or Prepared as it were, haven't even tried it on Flight Simulator yet, has been well worth the endeavor. I can honestly say that. And so I'm going to try it with Flight Sim World. Yes, I was one of those people that bought it, and I know it's discontinued, but if you already have it, you can still play it. I'm going to try it with Flight Sim World. I'm going to try it with Flight Simulator 10, or Steam Edition, rather. I don't have X-Plane as of yet, so I don't have to do that right initially. Eventually I'll get around to it. But this is definitely worth the effort. So I'm just looking for the helipad, and then we can bring this bad boy in for a landing. But hey, while you're at it, if you haven't yet, I would greatly appreciate if you take the time to like and subscribe to my videos. It really helps so that I can generate the revenue to bring you some more things, because I always like to try to get the newest software so that I can demonstrate it for you, so that you can see if this is something that you want to invest in. Okay, we're going to bring this in. We're a little hot. Need to slow it down. Slow it down. Okay, now that we got it, I think we can bring it in. Oh, not too, don't drop down too fast. Okay, here we go. A little bit of forward, bring it down. You can see that me flying helicopters is not all that easy. Okay, a little bit of forward, there we go. Coming in. I think I'm going to put it on the barge. Too fast. Bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it back. Bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it down. Oh, smashed it. Well, at least I didn't overshoot it. In real life, I think I might have damaged something, but hey, as far as I'm concerned, that was perfect. Alright, everybody. I want to thank you again for watching. Leave me a couple of likes, and please subscribe. And if there is something that you want to see, like me flying through a certain area that you know is graphically intensive, to see how this, CPU is able to handle the frame rates, leave a comment in the box, or just leave a comment in general. Well, again, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the virtual skies.